We are back with some quick math. This was our March exam, question 3, grade 12. And it's a trig question. Let's get straight into it, okay? And so as soon as we see this in something in terms of P, the first thing that I would want you to do is to draw a diagram. So let's start by doing that. Sine of 61 equals square root of P. Sine of 61 degrees equals square root of P. Right? Remember that is going to be over 1. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw my own triangle using this information that I've got over here. Okay. It might not be required, but generally when I have the triangle, it makes everything easier. So the 61 I'm going to put in over there. It can go anywhere, but I'm going to put it over here. And then obviously this angle over here would be 180 minus 90 minus the 61. So it's going to give us 29. Right, that's degrees. Okay, cool. And then let's just clean this up a bit. We know from SOHCAHTOA that sine is opposite over hypotenuse, so this would be my opposite, and then this would be my hypotenuse. So then my hypotenuse would be there. The 61 is here, so opposite that would be over there, which is going to be my square root P. And then my adjacent would be the 1 squared minus the square root of P squared, so just the P. All right, so there I've got my own triangle. I might need it as I deal with this question. It's always good to have. Sometimes it's required, sometimes not necessary, but I would say always start by drawing your triangle. Let's check what they actually give us in the question. They say sine 241. Okay, so sine of 241 degrees, and we need 241. Okay, just making sure I've got it right. We need 241 in terms of our square root P. This question will always have reductions. So, okay, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to try and do a reduction. And then what they try to throw in with this question is probably going to be my compound angles or my double angles. That's why I've given this over here to you. Over here, you can see these formula. This will be on the formula sheet. You should know where to find them. So we have these compound angles over there, maybe going to be required, or we have our double angles over here, which is also possibly going to be required in this question, right? Okay, so when I look at the 241, firstly, whatever, I'm going to do a reduction. So reduction, I want to reduce it to an acute angle. Whatever is going to be, so I'm going to say sine, whatever I put inside this bracket over here still has to equal to 241. So whatever goes in here is still going to be equal to my 241. I'm going to go with 180 plus. So if I say 180 plus, and I think that is going to be a 61. 180 plus 61 gives me my 240. So this one is nice and easy. And we know from our cost diagram, let's put that up here quickly, CIST, 180 plus puts me in the third quadrant. So for this question, I am here. And I know sine, which I'm dealing with, is negative in that quadrant. So this is minus sine of the 61 degrees. And what we started with was sine 61 is equal to square root P. So this one is minus square root P. That was easy enough. Okay. So that one only required a reduction. Costs 122. Okay, so the next one costs 122 degrees. Okay, again, let's okay, I'm not even going to do a reduction here. If I look at 122, the first thing that comes to my mind is that's 61 times 2. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite this rather, and instead of 122, I'm going to say 2 times my 61. So the 2 times 61 is still equal to 122. Okay, so like I mentioned, with this question, they generally want to throw in your double angles, your compound angles. For us, we saw that the 122 is just the 61 doubled. Sometimes it's going to be 30 plus or 45 plus or 60 plus or minus, so that we can use our compound angles. Then it will be one of these formulas that we have over here. Okay, or sometimes it's double, or sometimes it's even half. But it's going to be one of our compound or double angles. So we're going to say that we can replace cos of 122 with cos of 2 times. So we know that's our double angle. Okay. So we're going to replace, for the cos double angle, at least we have options. So we have these three options, and I'm going to pick the middle one. The reason I'm picking the middle one is because they've given me sine, remember? So I'm going to use that because it's going to revert it back to the given information. So I'm going to say 1 minus 2 sine. So this is the same as 1 minus 2 sine square of my 61. Okay, so what did I do? I just replaced this one with the sine, with the cos double angle, and we had three options. We chose the sine option. The reason we chose the sine option is because that is part of the given information. Really, we could go with any of them. So then I could say 1 minus 2 sine squared of 61. Now we know sine of 61 is the square root of p. So if we have the square root of p and that gets squared, obviously the square and the square root will cancel. So it's 1 minus 2p. And that's going to be our answer. Okay, this one was easy enough. I see we didn't need the triangle that we made, but it's always good to use, always good to have just in case you do need it.